All right. So if you want to graph a sine function in your calculator, just to kind of show you how it relates, graphing by hand relates to your unit circle, what I would have you do is start by putting all these radians all the way around your circle in your calculator, and then put all the sine functions here in the calculator. And to do that, you're going to have to change your calculator into radians because you're going to be putting radians in, not degrees. So if you go to the calculator, the way that you're going to do that is you see this mode button here. It's underneath the quit button. So if you hit mode, and if you scroll down here, you see it says radians and degrees. So if I go over here and highlight degrees by hitting enter, now my calculator is in degrees. But I want to be in radians for this. I'm going to go over to radians and hit enter, and now my calculator is in radians. You can just go second quit to get out of that screen. So then what you want to do is you want to go into L1 and L2. So you're going to go to Stat and then Edit. And then in L1, you're going to put all the radian values. So here, if you take a look at here, if I put in pi over 6, so I'm just going to type in pi, which will be second, and then this little button here for pi, divided by 6. When I hit enter, it's going to change that to a decimal because it's not going to record it as pi over 6. It's going to record it as the decimal equivalent. So I just went ahead in here and put in all of the radian values just going all the way around. So I put pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2, and so forth, going all the way around the unit circle. Now you can actually do the same thing in degrees if you want. You can put your calculator in degrees and then put all the degrees in. It's going to give you the same curve. Then in the L2, I put all the sine values. So remember, the second one is your sine value because it goes cosine sine. So I put in 0, 1/2, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, and so forth. So if you take a look at your calculator, the first one is 0. This one would be a half. But I'll show you here, if I put in the square root of 2 over 2, I'll go square root, where's my square root button? Right there. Square root of 2 divided by 2. So that's what I'm actually putting in, the square root of 2 over 2. But as soon as I hit enter, my calculator is going to change it to a decimal. So here I've put in L1, I've put in all of my radians. L2, I've put in all of my sine functions. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my window. So if you remember your window, you went all the way around the circle in radians. So you went from 0 to 2 pi. So you're really going from 0 to a little bit more than 6 on your x axis or your L1. And I just went, instead of going from 0 to a little bit more than 6, I went from -1 to 7. And then if you remember, your sine, your largest sine value is 1, your smallest is -1. So again, I wanted to go a little bit more than that, so I went to -5, -1.5 and 1.5. And then if I just hit graph, you have to make sure your plots are on. So if you go here to your Y editor, you see if you scroll up here to plot 1, 2, 3. To turn your plots on and off, you just have to hit enter. So right now, none of my plots are on because none of them are highlighted. If I wanted to turn one on, I would just go here and enter, and now plot 1 is on. And then all I have to do is hit my graph button, and it's going to give me this curve right here. So that's how you would graph the sine function from the unit circle.